Let us stand for 30 seconds of silent prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This town board meeting will be in memory of Robert Menendez, William Massett, Roy Mayer, Ronald and Anna Nero. Madam Clerk, will you take the roll?
Supervisor Negan.
Present.
Councilman Hart.
Present.
And Councilman Hill.
Present.
Anyone from the public that has any comments on communications? Moving on to communications. Oh, it's going to stay today. Thank you. Item number 1 is from Town Attorney John Fence. Kindly authorize the Town Attorney and the Town Highway Superintendent to prepare bid documents for collection and processing of recyclables. The bids will be available on December 6, 2018, and an opening date will be December 20th, 2018.
Same.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is from Matthew English, our Highway Superintendent. Please terminate Colin Brown as sanitation laborer and appoint him as sanitation motor equipment operator at a rate of $23.52 per hour as per the blue collar contract effective December 3rd, 2018, authorizing the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 3 is from Chief Daniel Denz. Kindly change the status of part-time safety dispatchers Jared Mazurkowitz, excuse me, Kylie Weir, Norman Breen, Andrew Oscapello, part-time seasonal from December 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, authorizing the supervisor to sign the necessary forms with Erie County personnel.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 4 is from Megan Wennick, our Director of Finance. Kindly authorize the Director of Finance to prepare a request for proposal for the performance of an audit services for the fiscal years ending December 31st, 2018, 2020, with 2 option years. The following is the list of key dates, including the date of proposals that are due to be submitted to be issued on December 4th, 2018, inquiries through December 14th, 2018, and due date of proposals is December 18th at 4 p.m.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item 5 is also from Megan Wennick, our Director of Finance. Kindly authorize the Director of Finance to present the following items for resolution. The establishment standard workdays for the attached titles and to report the officials to the New York State and local retirement system based on their record of activities. Also, the establishment of the standard workdays for its employees of the attached titles and to report days worked to the New York State local retirement system based on the timekeeping system.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 6 is from Lauren Massett, our Recreation Supervisor. Lauren is asking that we kindly approve the attached recreation programs for the winter-spring of 2019.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And we'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 19th, 2018.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll make a motion to approve the warrant.
Second.
Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. This is just a request from the American Legion from Jim Manley regarding the December 7th. They will be holding their annual service that will commence at 12 o'clock for Pearl Harbor Harbor Memorial Service this coming Friday, December 7th, 2018. They will assemble at 11:45 with the ceremony taking place at noon. And it's, yes, and it's in the community center. After the ceremony, Spot Coffee will be hosting some refreshments. Is there anyone from the public that has a comment? Feel free to come up.
Beverly Lacing, Harwood Road. Unfortunately, Mr. English isn't here because this is directed to his employees. Leaf pickup in Zone 4 was very, very hard for the workers, and again, our West Seneca Highway employees did a terrific job. The snow was covering the leaves, and they really worked in unfavorable conditions, to say the least. I've also been asked to tell the public and the board that the workers did a great job this last Saturday in Zone 1 also. Now, we have relined a lot of the sewers, and we have a lot of things that we have done to better our distribution of wastewater. Have we any amounts on the savings that we have been able to make so that the pumps are not working as hard as they were? Before we started, we got fined for having so much water that went into Casanova Creek.
Right, we could run that number for you, Beverly, but we
Okay.
don't have it off the top of our head.
Right,
Okay.
There has been some less water being discharged.
I'm assuming that was good because we talked about the sewers and everything.
Steve Janner gave us those numbers before, but there's no way to remember.
I just thought maybe we should let the public know that because of the work that was being done, not only are we going to save the $50,000 a day in 2020, we're also saving every day X number of dollars.
That's correct, and I think 2 pumps have been removed since the start of the sewer line.
Well, I'm trying to help you guys get a little publicity.
Thank you, Beverly.
Just for everyone's information, a few of us have gotten together and are helping our local nursing home residents who do not have family and friends that remember them at this Christmas time. A few of us are trying to get something for the 20 residents at Seneca Manor. If anyone would also like to help us, see me after the meeting, thank you very much and God bless. There's 20 there that have nobody.
Can you kind of give us an idea what you might need?
They need pajamas and nightgowns, and there's 20 of them. And I've been very fortunate, because I have gone over to Kmart. I'm fortunate that they're 50% off, but good for me, because I can help a few more extra people. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So we're trying, at least, I don't want to give to, if there are 2 people in the room, I don't want to give a new pair of pajamas to the door person and not by the window person, because they're gonna feel terrible. And I don't wanna do that, and that's not in the spirit of Christmas. So I'm trying to do my best, but if anybody feels they have a buck or 2 they wanna throw our way, I'll be glad to spend it for you.
So if there
Thank
might
you.
be,
Yeah.
it might be better just to make a donation to you guys
Yes,
and try to buy them.
yes,
All right,
because they asked for blankets too, and they do have some nice throws there too, that are 30% off, so I'm trying to get one of them for them too.
okay.
Okay,
Great work, Beverly.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone further?
Yeah. I didn't make the last meeting, but the meeting before, we were talking about the electrical inspector in town, and Mr. Hill, you said you were gonna give me a report on how many letters he sent out to the residents in this town
Jeffrey
on
has
their
that.
service house lines.
Correct. We did have the numbers at the last meeting, we did report them, I think Jeffrey still has, so we
Okay.
did everything I told you I would do.
Okay, but you said you were gonna give me a number, your number?
Oh, I have to, what was that number, Jeff?
Yeah, I apologize. The report's in my office. It's fully available to come and review. I will tell you, if I recall, we looked from January till November were the dates. We looked at the quantity of letters produced by the entire office, which was approximately 700.
Okay.
We separated out the ones sent by the electrical inspector. They were about 60, I believe. That correlates to the 10-12%, I believe.
It's in the minutes from
It's in
last,
the
I
minutes.
have the numbers here.
Okay, well, read it off to me, sir, would you?
Yeah, it says, a total of 700 letters were sent. That was from January through last meeting. Of those letters, 60 were for electrical violations. There were 510 electric permits issued year-to-date with 18 electrical re-inspections.
Now, them 60, I'm assuming that them are the ones that the electrical inspector went out to get revenue on that had nothing to do with his job. Now, his job is basically, as I said before, and I'll go all over it again, when you got remodeling and you got new houses, that's what they did before. What he's doing now, as I said to you before, he's going out and he's abusing the public by telling them on their house lines, which is not his job. It's not his job to be going around and looking at old services coming into a house. That's only creating revenue at the expense of the senior citizens in this town and anybody else. That should be stopped. That should be stopped.
I checked on that too. It is their responsibility when they're next door, if they're next door doing an inspection and they see a health or fire hazard, they have to report that.
Well, now you're using little tidbits information because, like I said before, underwriters, whoever had this job before, never done that, and they done their job the way it should be done. This is a revenue board, Hanley,
Or
and
did-
you know it,
Or did they?
you know it, no, did they? Was the town making hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue off that, the other outfit?
We were paying that money.
You were paying that much?
We weren't paying, we were not getting that money. The town is now keeping that.
Well, the town's getting it now only because he's creating this revenue.
I know.
He's doing not what he's supposed to be doing. Stick to what he's supposed to be doing, and he shouldn't be full-time to begin with, again, okay? He shouldn't be full-time to begin with, but this is the reward he's gonna be getting because he's creating a revenue for you people. And the reason he's creating a revenue for you people is because you've got the residents' throat. You can't keep going up on taxes, so you gotta find a revenue source.
That number I don't have, but there were very few that were charged for the re-inspection. Very
Well,
few.
you better do your homework
Those
because that's not
numbers.
what I got.
I think Mr. Clark is asking for the solid numbers. When Commonwealth was in the town of West Seneca, we paid them hundreds of thousands, and they were only going to inspect what they were asked to inspect. They were not asked to inspect or bring the town's, to the town's attention of another situation in town. But if you would be so kind to give Mr. Clark that information, just to put his mind at ease that we are not doing this.
Just how much revenue was generated from re-inspections?
No, how much revenue is being created by him going out of his way
He's
and
not
going to
going out.
houses and telling these people that their services are old? Because he's been already spotted from the street looking, and I'm not an electrician guy, okay? That's why I talked to different people and I asked them about it. And there's a lot of old houses in this town. I guess it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out like 2 wires or 3 wires coming into a house. And that's what he's been spotting. Old services coming in here, and then all of a sudden, these services are not safe. I told you before, I know a fact, he sent somebody 2 letters. They called the electric company said, there's nothing wrong with your service, I don't know why they're sending you this, and they sent no more letters to that woman. No more letters were sent. That she done her homework. But the shame of it is, most people wanna be law-abiding. Most people are afraid when they get a letter. They're intimidated, and that's what's going on here, because you people need a revenue. Now, I mean, I said that before, and I'm gonna say it again. He shouldn't be doing that to create revenue. Do your job, go and inspect the houses that are being remodeled, go and inspect the houses that are being built, but leave other people alone. They shouldn't be harassed because you people need revenue. Okay, now if I can get that other report there, as far as what Commonwealth got compared to what this guy's getting, I'll be very happy. Just let me see the difference between how much money he is giving the town and how much money Commonwealth done, okay? You've already said that he was doing his job, and Commonwealth was doing their job.
They were.
This
They were
guy's
not
going
on
above
every-
and beyond
That's right.
his
We
job.
like our employees to
Well-
go above and beyond, Mr.
Well,
Clark.
sure, especially when they're creating a revenue for you.
Mr.
It
Clark,
gives
that
you
is
more
not
money.
the case. You're making this up, and Mr.
I'm not making it up,
Yes,
Sheila.
you are. Data is gonna prove that you're,
Okay, well, you prove I'm wrong.
you're just exaggerating what is the
Yeah,
facts.
that's why I've got all these phone calls from people
Well,
saying
you
that
keep
they're
saying
intimidated.
about these
Yeah.
phone calls, Clarky, but who are they? Give us some names. I
Sheila,
can't-
listen, I'm sure
am
you've got
listening.
more phone calls coming into your office than I can, but we won't argue.
Go go
okay?
ahead, Jeffrey,
Okay.
you could just give him those numbers and then put Mr. Clark's mind at ease.
I don't have the Commonwealth ones, I have to contact them
Yeah.
to get like previous years, just as an example,
Yeah.
which we can do.
Right, but just give him the numbers of recharge, the re-inspection and what the charges were. I think that's all in your office.
Finance can provide you with.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anything else, Mr. Clark?
oh yeah, we got a couple of things here.
Okay.
The light at Meadow Spring in Harlem, where the pole was hit, there's still a ferrule on there. Is there a reason why that's 3 months old and not replaced?
No, I don't have an answer to that, it was reported, Dale, it was reported.
But it's town of West Seneca's pole now.
Is it part of the pole, or was it part of the project?
There's no pole there at all, there's a ferrule there.
I
The
don't.
light was knocked down, the telephone pole was knocked down, the bracket was knocked down.
Correct, but was that part of the Route 240 project?
I think that was explained to you that it was. When you said it wasn't, it turns out that it was.
No, I never said it was in part of the
I
project.
told the gentleman back there that we were not responsible for the poles, and 2
No.
weeks later, the pole got hit, and we found out that the pole was.
You're trying to twist my words.
I
I told you I don't know which lights were part of the Route 240 reconstruction.
Okay, well, the bottom line is, when's the pole gonna be fixed? When's the light gonna be fixed?
I have no idea.
So that's the new system we took over, when something's broke, we'll just wing it?
We reported it, yeah.
Huh?
It was reported.
But it's reported to you, you're responsible to fix it.
I don't fix lights.
Who's fixing the lights?
It Bubble contracted out.
Did you not take over the electrical
Well,
system in town?
I don't know who knocked it down.
I didn't ask you that. I
You just
said
said-
you took over the electrical system
I'm
in
not gonna
town.
argue with you, I don't know
That's
who knocked the
nothing to
pole
argue
down.
about. Yes or
Light
no?
was
Did
turned-
you take over the electrical system?
The town
Street
did.
lights.
The town did.
Okay, well, there's a street light that's been
Not-
running for 3 months.
Not all of the lights were yellow. That's what we tried to explain. Many
This one,
times.
I happen to know, is the town of West Saga.
Is it a steel pole or a wood pole?
Listen, it's a pole that's got a light on it, that's got your sticker on it, or did, because now there's nothing there.
Right.
And it was the town of West Saga that went and picked up all the splinters in the driveway.
So it's a wood pole.
Yes, it is.
Okay, you just said you didn't know.
Well, it doesn't matter, there's no light there, and it's the town of West Seneca. Now, you can twist words all you want on this, Bill. You know, the bottom line is, you said you were responsible for them lights, it's been 3 months, okay? And it ain't fixed. So, if something happens still, again, with that corner being dark the way it is, I hope they come to you, okay? Having said that, Mr. Hart, when I told this town board about the electrical inspector also having an electric company in town, you said you were gonna check into it and get back to me.
Yep. And I did, and I can't say a word about it right now.
There's not an ethics violation on that?
It has not been referred to the ethics board as far as I know.
Do you think it's, well, you're gonna check into it, and that you can't tell me now? You can't tell me?
It is a fact, he does have a partnership with another gentleman. They do business in West Seneca, he's not allowed to inspect any of those projects at this point.
So, the town board sees nothing wrong with
We didn't
an
say,
inspector?
I did not say I saw nothing wrong with it, Mr. Clark.
What are you doing about it?
Mr. Clark, I can't comment on it. I will when I can.
As a resident of this town,
I can't comment on it, it's a personal
I don't know
matter.
why
It
you
is
can't
a-
comment on that.
It is a personal matter, and as a
It's
former
not
board,
personal.
as a former board member, you should know.
Mr. Hart, as a former board member, I know how much you're screwing up in there, okay? But the bottom line being is, that's an ethics violation. And if you guys ain't gonna do nothing about it, let me know, and I'll have to go in front of the ethics committee and say, why is this guy allowed to do the work and inspect the work? It doesn't make any sense to me.
He does not inspect the work.
Who's inspecting it? Who's inspecting his work?
Jeff?
It is my understanding, based on what I know, that the quantity of these is very minimal, is the first answer. Less than 10 throughout the year, if probably less than 5. The work is not physically performed by him, is my first answer. And the inspections are not performed by him on his own employee, that would not make sense. So the electrical inspections are performed by myself, which deal with very simple electrical stuff. We have not run into the issue of complex solar lighting systems. If that were to come about, we'd have to contract with a third party to perform that inspection, as I'm not qualified to do that.
Thank you.
Well, if the building inspector can inspect this stuff, what do we need a building inspector for?
Because our code enforcement is not electrical inspector per He could do the basic, what he just said, he could do the basic inspections, he cannot do solar panels.
Did it tell me that this guy just do basic things as far as the electrician?
No, he did, the inspection right at my next door neighbor's house.
Y'all know it's wrong. Y'all know it's wrong, and you're coming up with, you know, these frivolous things you're coming up with, and I hope the people back here ain't being fooled by this, because I damn sure ain't, okay? It's wrong. You either get rid of them for a contractor, or you get rid of them for a building inspector, or electrical inspector, which we don't need a full-time electrical inspector anyway, okay? One last thing I got. I see in the paper here where, you know, when the town was downgraded for the Moody's in July, okay, got a 4% tax increase, and we're above the state, we're above the tax cap again. Then I get a copy of the Sun today by a resident, and there's something about a hawk signal in here. Now, Sheila, I asked you a long time ago, how much more money is gonna be spent on that library? You said that you're all over and done with, okay? All right, having said that, now there's a hawk signal Mr. Hart was talking about, and he's volunteering to spend $100,000 of taxpayers' money to put that light in there.
First of all, that is an ask that I made to the DOT. And they have honored my request to do a thorough warrant. And the warrant is to see if it's warranted to have it. And if they say yes to it, they pay for it, not the
Okay.
town.
Well, then why did we volunteer to pay for it?
He didn't volunteer to pay for it. He just said the cost is around $100,000. Well,
It says here, and while he says he believes that the state would pay for the hawk signal, the town would be willing to contribute to the cost required. You guys, did you guys get a copy of the Sun?
If it's a small amount, sure.
Well, $100,000.
no, $100,000 is the Hawk light itself, Clarky.
Okay.
And then the labor behind it, but no, we're not paying for it. If we pass the warrant, if they say absolutely, this is something that needs to be put in play, they're going to pay for it, and the ask came from this town board.
And if they don't pay for it, we'll pay for it.
No, we won't,
Well, that's what-
we can't
Well,
give one,
someone's gotta
Mr.
get the
Clark,
facts
Mr.
straight.
Clark, please hold on. You know, Union Road is
Okay.
owned by
It's
the
only been
state
there
of
for
New York.
69
I can't go out
68
there and
years I've
put
been here,
in.
Sheila, nothing's changed about it, so yeah, I know where it is.
I said, you know it's owned by New York State. We
Yeah.
can't put or implement any changes to that state road, sir.
Uh-huh.
It's not within our jurisdiction.
Well, I'm
Thank
only
you, though.
reading what's in the, you know,
Mr. Clark, that's some reporter that wrote that article. That doesn't mean that every part of it is factual.
well, how much more is in here that is not the
Mr.
I don't know, you can make up whatever
Mike,
you
Mike,
want.
Why is it I'm making up something when
I
I'm
don't
reading
know
right
how
out
you
of the
make up
paper?
stuff. It's not my problem, it's
What-
yours.
Everything that you disagree with, Ms. Megan,
I
is
don't disagree with
my,
anything.
you don't agree that that's in the paper?
Mr. I didn't read the Sun.
Well, my point behind
I'm
all
just
this
telling-
is,
I'm giving you the facts.
well,
When
I'm
you
giving you
prefer the
that,
facts
in a
and
paper where
something
you're
you read.
volunteering $100,000 of taxpayers'
Oh,
money.
sir,
Even
please.
though we're going broke, you people just don't get what the residents
Sir,
are telling
that
you.
is
We're
not
going
the
broke,
case.
stop throwing our money away.
You're making this up.
Yeah,
We're
I
not
made it up.
spending $100,000. It's up to the state if it's warranted. You're twisting
I'll
it.
send you a copy of the piece.
I don't want a copy of it, Mr. Clark. I know the facts. I just gave them to you. Unfortunately, you don't want to hear them.
Richard Buda, 29 Singer Drive, West Side.
You don't have to give us your name anymore.
I hope. My pages are turning yellow because I keep bringing up the same things, that you're not doing anything to fix anything or even complete the stuff that you started 3 years ago.
Okay.
The lights on Ridge Road are still not changed, and there's more out now than there was before.
Okay.
I have seen no contractor out there, nor have I heard of anyone being hired by Danforth or anybody else to do any work on these things. Okay, this was promised to me by Mr. Tanner, it was promised to me by Mr. Hanley, and of course, Mr. Fentz said something about this the last meeting that I attended. This was being taken care of, you found out about it today. It's been about a month and nothing's happening, nothing at all.
Well, the lights on Slade and Ridge Road, there was an email sent from our town attorney's office yesterday or the day before asking about that.
It takes you longer to process paperwork than it does to send a guy out to do the work.
We had your answers 2 weeks ago, you were supposed to come to a meeting, you canceled the meeting.
I canceled the meeting because I had other
But
things
you-
going.
But you came here to say we're not telling you anything.
Hang on a second.
But
You
did
don't
not-
tell me anything when I come here.
You didn't come to the meeting, sir.
Okay, I'll come to the meetings, but you're still gonna tell me the same thing. These are the same papers I've had for the last 2 years.
We could give you
And I
answers.
marked the dates on them.
We
Bill,
had your-
Bill,
we
Bill,
had your
don't twist it
answers.
around, Bill, because you're doing the same thing to him. I'm not that stupid.
Are you done?
No, I'm not. Second of all, you got a contractor working on a signal, Catco, across the street from the Southgate Plaza. Right?
Somebody's doing that, it's not our
Who's
road.
Catco?
That's not our road.
Doesn't make any difference.
It's not our light, it's not our road.
Okay, it's not your road. I'm
And
going
it's
along
not
with
our
that.
light.
Okay, take it down for a minute. Jeffrey, did Catco file electrical permit to do that electrical work on that signal for the town of West End?
It's state issues,
We
you
don't
would
do
never.
Jeffrey,
see any-
Jeffrey,
No.
it's the same thing. We're going through this again.
Why don't you let him answer, please?
Matt, answer.
Okay, please let him answer.
I've never seen an electrical permit for road work, only interior parking lights within 4 property lines of the property, not in the right of way.
Okay, but what's been said to me and what's been said, and I went over the list of contractors, electrical contractors you have in town, Catco's name's not on there. So therefore, they're gonna come in here and not file a permit like everybody else has to do. And who is going to inspect it? Because you don't have a guy in the town that can inspect that job. That's not a residential, it's not a commercial job.
Mr. Zamuda, that's not our light, we want to send an inspector there.
You should ask
Why aren't
them.
they filing a permit to do the work in the town? It's revenue for the town, we just went over this.
It's not revenue for the town, sir. Call Senator Galvin's office, ask them how the state handles that.
This was on a piece of paper back about a week or two ago. The town put out a piece of paper on, I believe the police department did too. You're not responsible for damage done on private driveways or on streets from your plows and stuff going down. Vehicles, or if the vehicle's in the street, in the driveway, back off the right of way far enough, and your plow comes down, hits something, throws a rock through somebody's back window, the town's not responsible for that?
I believe that's correct. I'm not an attorney, but I believe that's correct.
Why is that so? I mean, the guy's going, well, what? You see when you pick up the leaves and blow the leaves in the trees, and stuff sprays all over the place. My own personal vehicle got covered with this stuff. I called English, he sent a guy down to wash my car. But he was back 20 foot off the street,
Why is that rule?
because they put the pile right in front of my house, right on the street, right on my street, right on my driveway. And when I called on that, they thought it was a joke.
Every
Just like
time-
everything else.
Every time I try to answer, you start talking,
Okay, answer my question.
okay? Why they don't do it, I don't know. There is a front house back rule where you're not allowed to park in front of your house. Maybe it ties into that rule. There's a front setback rule for parking in the town of West Seneca.
Okay, but
If
I'm
you
talking,
park at the end of your driveway and you're not supposed to be parking there, maybe it's not the town's problem if they throw some dirt on your car.
the town's got the first 5 feet off the street on my driveway past the sewer, the sanitary sewer. That's called the right of way. My cars or vehicles are back past that. So when your guys come down and they take their scooper, they're back, and they dump the stuff on the road, and the other guy comes down, puts it in the shredder, blows it all out, and it gets all over the back of my car. Leaves or whatever it is. Causes a problem, you're not responsible. Even though it's on my property personally, not yours. I understand your problem, I understand the right of way thing, but you're not getting what I'm saying is it's on my personal property, back far enough off the road, that nothing should hit it, period.
That's a question for our town attorney.
Of course, he's not here.
He's sick.
Does, Jeffrey, does Steve Lumison have a master's license in the town?
He does not, I believe his partner has that license as it's filed under.
I'm not talking about his partner, I'm talking about him, he's working for the town, does he have a master's license? Because it is a requirement of the town for all the companies to have a master's license. Does Steve Lumison have a master's license?
I have to verify, I believe it's under his partner's name, sir.
What is his partner, Eddie Simon Song?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Is his wife's name on there? Because I know she's partner in the business.
No, sir, it's the other gentleman that I met on site.
Okay, but why is he inspecting work without a license? Why is he's gonna inspect work that licensed guys have to do? but it's okay for you to put him out there to inspect work without a license.
It is my impression that he holds a license in almost every other town.
That's not true?
He is also, as part of the electrical boards, right, is he on
Okay, well, that's all, we can check that. But I'm saying is, he worked for Commonwealth before he worked for Town of Sunny.
Agreed.
Commonwealth was making probably 60,000 in revenues in the town of Sunny before he threw him out. He told me he had to use Steve Loomis. Now, Steve Loomis is going around and telling everybody they got to do this, this, and everything else. And there's no record of him having a license. But yet, another guy comes into town and he can't go and do a house job without a license.
Steve
So
is
why
not-
is Loomis coming and inspecting that work without one?
To perform the work, you have to have the license, correct?
Okay, so just because Lomason's putting it down on a piece of paper, and he's coming in and telling you, well, you gotta have a piece of 6-wire instead of a piece of 4-wire, which is, 4 is bigger than 6, and he's telling you it's wrong, and you know it's right, because the book says so, but then he's gotta come back again and check it again, and then he finds something else wrong. Why didn't you just do that the first time he's there? If there's 20 violations, why didn't you just hit him all while he's there?
I think the question is he
He is
New York
licensed.
State certified, not licensed?
No,
I'm
why are you pushing the license for every contractor that you have working in town, but yet your inspector doesn't have the license? Now, you go in the city of Buffalo, and if an inspector wants to be an inspector in the city, he's also gotta carry a master's license like the electricians that he's inspecting. All municipalities like that, they carry licenses, but yet this one, he doesn't have it.
He very well may, that's my first answer, I just have to verify.
Well, then I would like that to be met in public record, that's all.
I get the impression.
Has he taken the test? Because it's only been, what, 2 years, 2.5 years?
Yes, that's how we hired Mr.
Yeah,
Smuda.
but you didn't hire him as master electrician, you hired him as inspector.
He came off of a list, Fitchett County.
Okay, the list that I read in the paper, that ad that you wrote, said that they were gonna hire somebody from the electrical union at that time for, I believe it was $17 an hour for a 19-hour work week. And it's expanded very much further on top of that since then.
It was a civil service test, sir.
Civil service exam.
Correct.
Okay, so why doesn't he take the test for the masters to see if he can pass that
Sir, I
test
don't know
before
that
he
he
goes
can.
out and inspects everybody else's work?
Again,
He very well may, I just. he has
we're,
to check it.
we can respond to that question, sir, at the next board meeting.
What's that?
We'll give you that answer at the next board meeting. Do you have anything else?
When are you gonna fix the lights, Bill?
Well, Bill's
This is
personally
every
not
board
gonna
meeting.
fix them.
The paper's turning yellow, Bill.
Okay.
Same age as you.
Is there anyone further?
Yes, and I won't say my name. I'd like to bring up the issue of a historical committee. I know that the town has talked about this in the past, but has never really moved forward on it, and I understand something's gonna happen sometime next year, put it that way. Many municipalities have historical committees.
You're talking about a historical preservation board?
Correct.
That's happening in January at a work session. That's already in the works.
Great. So I'd like to-
Mr. Pace is going to come to a work session and give us all the information, and the town has been working on this for a couple of years. It doesn't happen overnight, but yes, we're already on it.
I understand. Can I finish my comment?
Sure.
Just like get added to the record without my name?
You can't say your name too, Jim, if you want.
That's all right. That's not why I'm.
For the record, it's
just-
Mr. Jim Lawson is speaking.
Thanks, Sheila. So for the people in the audience, what we've done is, we don't have a historical district committee, but we've had places knocked down in the past, not because of the board by any means, but have been allowed to be knocked down, like the glass factory that was on the corner of Mill Road.
The glass factory burned down. I
So
watched-
again,
I
again,
watched
part
it
of
burn.
the committee will help establish my end goal here. If you let me finish. Such as Ebenezer Clock Shop that stood across from 14 Holy Helpers. If we had a committee, then what the committee does, it doesn't just say, here's the building, and we're gonna save this building, and everything's great, and we're gonna make somebody spend, a ton of money to fix it. What it does, it can actually designate where the building stood, it can put a plaque up, it can actually put a plaque on a house that exists, and possibly allow those people to get state money. But without us doing this, and again, I'm glad we're doing it, so this is my push for my vote behind that. We hope that once it's established, and then people can become, historical, trying to think what the proper term was.
Professional.
Lifetime historical member, so we could all do that, so I would encourage people to do that. But I hope that once the committee, is established, that the board doesn't make it so tough that people have to spend money to be designated, that there's a general rules that it can be a plaque, it can be just, obviously pointed out that a building once stood at this spot. That's all I have.
Jim, no, it's a good idea. We did the old shop. I attended the flag designation for Old Shop. It was something, I didn't know a lot about Old Shop, and it was very interesting.
Yep, and that's what we have Mr. Pace for,
Great.
and he's done that. Those plaques are about, $2,500. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone further?
Hi, Sally Gigello. I just have a question. I remember reading in the newspaper last year, or actually this year, it might have been 6 months ago or a little more, that West Seneca was going to be beautifying Union Road, like a section maybe between the library and Southgate. I believe it was probably gonna be a grant or something, so I wonder what's going on with that.
We met with the DOT and talked about, the Potter Road was one of the roads they talked about, either striping or reconfiguring. We talked about bump outs here, but again, it's a state project. They come to us and say, do you like this, don't you like this, what do you like, or what don't you like? We don't really get to tell the state what to do with their road. They come to us with their ideas, ask us, do we like it?
But it made it sound like this was a thing that was gonna be happening, so they talked about Union Road, right?
they
Putting
have
in
all
street
common-
lamps and things like that,
Calming
and
the traffic,
benches.
right, slowing the traffic down to 30 miles an hour, doing bump outs, creating angle parking. There was a plan from the DOT.
Yes, and it's beautification. It's been part of their ideas for probably the last 15 years.
So these things are suggested and nothing ever comes of them?
Sometimes, yes.
Pretty much. It comes from the state though. Those are projects that they put in play, and then what gets funded, and if it doesn't, then they just come up with more ideas, different sections.
I don't know why they bothered putting that in the newspaper, if it's not really gonna happen.
Well, the newspapers, they tend to print things that are just in the works.
It was a pretty extensive study on the road itself, so, they have ideas, but Union Road, I believe, was paved about 5 years ago, this West Seneca. And the one thing they won't do is touch that road for 10 years. They may come back to us in 5 years with the next town board and have a proposal, but at this point in time, they don't, and they won't touch it until, I guess, the pavement is paid for by its use.
Okay,
It needs to be repaired.
okay,
And when there's more repairs, maybe they'll have a proposal.
yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone further? No?
I just have a couple of questions. The one topic, we're always talking about revenue. We're always looking for revenue between the town. And I was just wondering if there's any way we could find out, this summer, we had Bill, you showed me the paperwork for the agreement. We had a softball tournament for a whole week at Sunshine Park. But in the agreement, there wasn't anything about how much we were charging this organization, they're from North Carolina, to play a whole week in Sunshine Park.
Correct. I think it was 2 years ago they were here for the full week. Last year they were here for 3 days, I think.
I'm pretty sure they're, but do we have any figures on how much we charge them?
Yes.
Is there any way to get those figures?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's one. We also had, the Western New York Flash uses the soccer park, almost exclusively. They're using more than our kids for house and travel. I know a few years ago, we were collecting about $7,000 for them for the whole year. They use the concert. I just want to, if we raise that, what are they bringing in? Because they have tournaments, they have clinics, they got everything going on over there all summer long. How
They
much
now
are we
pay us
paying?
15,000,
They're paying $15,000 now?
15,000 a year, yes, Rudy.
Okay.
Aren't they also committed to, capital improvement at the park every year?
15,000 or capital improvements.
Okay. There also, I tried to find out again, the Odenbach tournament in June, they come over the weekend, they play all weekend, and one year I had them, they were hardly paying anything, a couple $1,000. I just wondered, what they pay. And the reason I'm asking these questions,
5,000.
they're paying 5 this year, yeah? Okay, because when you look at the overtime we pay between buildings and grounds, highway, police, we're probably losing money in those deals. I don't know, do they cover any, like say, when they play that week at Sunshine Park, do they throw in extra money for the overtime? Do we figure that overtime in?
I know with the Gaelic games and the baseball, it was all part of the contract, the overtime and the police services, yes.
Okay. Okay, my next set of questions are, going back a couple months back with Mr. Gullow's situation. Very disappointing that someone could basically commit a crime. So I had a couple questions. Why this man wasn't charged and arrested for fraud and stealing from the taxpayers?
District attorney didn't want to charge you.
We can't
Right,
let them-
District said no. You brought the case, you brought the case, what, Erie County District Attorney?
we can't talk.
Rudy, we can't, that was through the legal system, and there's really not much we can talk about with the John Bello situation.
Well-
Without getting ourselves in trouble.
Well, it's out in the news now, and I know you always say personally you can't talk about, but when you start giving taxpayers money, that you committed hundreds of thousands of dollars to this deal.
That's just rumor.
Well, you're giving them 12 years of health insurance, is that correct?
You're talking about what we're giving him, okay,
Well, what you're giving him,
yes.
I mean, you might have, the district attorney also, if you want to bring up old history, remember we had Frank Clark, he was more of a politician than a prosecutor. We had a ton of work, and well, you guys out here, Mrs. Neal, remember, the AmeriCorps, we had them caught with so much crimes and so many wrongdoings, the credit card scandal, it was brought to him and he didn't want to charge them. And they all walked scot-free.
That was Sedita. That was Sedita. He wouldn't.
No, it was Frank, I'm pretty sure it was Clark.
No, I did all that work.
Sedita?
I went to Sedita and he told me he needed it on tape. And I said, what are you talking about? He used
They
a
were
credit
investing.
card. He swiped it once a month, getting $1,000. You cannot tell me that that is not guilt in itself. And he said it wasn't.
You let him off.
Because they gave him the ability to have his own PIN number. And the stuff I uncovered was
I know, I had a lot of information also.
incredible.
I talked to the FBI, I talked to people from Albany, they asked me a ton of questions, we gave them all the information they
We
wanted.
sure did.
They should have been, and everybody walked away scot-free. Matter of
Sure
fact,
did.
they're still in business, aren't they?
Yeah, but not under any of those parties.
But I
that
mean,
were part.
we let them off the hook because they changed
I
their
don't know
name.
that we let them off the hook.
Well,
We
we
did our
didn't-
very best to recover what we could.
I know, but I remember at the meeting, they were saying, everybody was worried they were gonna go out of business. Social
Well-
service, they don't go out of business.
Actually, they could have gone out of business, but it's not a
Very
business.
rare, just like, at the same time, there was another organization called Acorn. They got caught with their hands, so much corruption, and all they did was, Congress suspended their grants for a while, a couple months to investigate them, and they opened up under another name, just like the AmeriCorps opened up under another name. These social service organizations, especially
This
federal
is true,
ones, they
but-
never go away, and they'll never be cut, but anyway.
Rudy, the positive thing,
I know
the
you can't talk about
takeaway
those, but
from that, Rudy,
when
is
you-
that they're no longer here.
Oh, yes,
That
I
we, as a
understand.
municipality, aren't paying for a federal
That's right.
program.
even though we'll
So-
never know how many millions they stole from us.
Well, if
But-
they were getting
We
30
gotta-
grand a month, no
I know,
questions
no
asked.
questions asked. Well, that was Mr. Clark and the rest of the boys, the town board that let it go. And everybody knew about it.
Well, I did.
The controller knew about it years ago, Mrs. Megan, your father knew about it years ago.
Yeah, and look what they did to him,
Yes.
because he
So
knew
they knew,
they
but,
were, thank you.
With Mr. Gullo, when you start giving out money like this, the taxpayers' money, and you commit the taxpayers to a ton of money, we should have a right to know what went on. Why was he offered a deal to give him health insurance for 12 years? Can't answer that. Even though you committed the taxpayers, I know one time you mentioned, I don't know, he's getting a single life or whatever it is. Sometimes, one time it was one country, it was 13,000 a year,
No, that's incorrect.
and then it was
It's
17,000.
It's $7,100 a year, that's what he gets.
Single cover.
Single coverage.
Yes.
For 12 years. And that's if it doesn't go up. Sometimes it might go up 8%, 4%, who knows how much it's gonna go up. Did we cap it?
Max,
In the
max,
agreement?
max 12 years.
No, the figure, I mean, health insurance goes
7,100,
up all the time. He's getting 7,100 now.
that's it. If it goes up,
Can't
that's
go
not
up.
us.
One other, I know the lawyer says, well, how come we have a stipulation, if he gets a job, because supposedly he retired, If he gets a job, why are we still paying health insurance if he goes out and gets a job? Which, the dummies in Orchard Park, the Village of Orchard Park, they gotta be the biggest dummies in the world, they hired them.
First of all, they hired them part-time, and no part-timers offered health care. Secondly,
Well, we had part-timers get healthcare in this town.
who?
We don't?
No,
They don't have pensions?
no. We don't have any part-timers getting health care, Rudy.
What about pensions?
Part-time.
Well, if they join the New York State retirement, yeah, they're allowed to, and
They're allowed
we're
to do it.
obligated
Okay.
under the state of New York.
So, when you made this deal, why couldn't we put in there, if he takes a job, that's off the books? He doesn't get health insurance from the taxpayers.
It may be in
Oh, but you can't tell us. Well, it's a shame, because when you commit taxpayers to this kind of a deal for 12 years, we should have a right to know what went on and how this deal came about. And why he wasn't arrested. That's a simple question. He committed fraud. And even years ago, the rumors had it when he was hired, he wasn't even qualified for that job. So that's another thing to look about. You're not hiring qualified people, you're not hiring competent people. And that's why this town gets in trouble. I've been around a long time. Almost every department in this town has been investigated for corruption and scandals. Just about every department, almost every department. And it keeps on happening every year.
But every time we hire people, they have to come out of a civil service test.
Not all positions,
Well,
not all positions.
pretty much.
Highway, buildings and grounds,
Well, there's been no criminal investigation in our highway or buildings and grounds department, Rudy.
well, there's been a lot of questions. Maybe
Well,
not.
I'm
There's been a lot of
sorry.
scandals. You had a highway guy get caught stealing gas twice in the same night by the police department, remember that? You don't remember that?
Well, how many years ago was it?
It's back a few, that's what I'm saying, I go back years,
Was
I
it
go back
back
to the whole.
30 years ago?
I don't know if it was 30 years.
Well, it wasn't in my
But I
time.
mean, there's been almost every department, I can sit down with you sometime when I try, and I'll give
Well,
you
unfortunately,
every
that's
department
human
basically.
nature. But it
We
is
gotta
what
be
it
careful
is.
about hiring people.
Well, we do a
Family
very
and
good
friends, it has to
background.
go, we all know that. You keep on hiring your family and friends and all your buddies, that's what
Again.
happens. But, so,
Thank
in
you.
other words, with Mr. Gullo, you can't talk about Mr. Gullo, why this came about.
We cannot.
Why he wasn't arrested,
We
nothing.
cannot.
See, that's pretty sad, because you put the taxpayers for 12 years, we're coughing up a lot of money for
Well,
something.
again, we didn't hire him, but thank you, Rudy. Have yourself a great day. But we did find out what he was doing. Anyone further? Okay, there being none, I would like to, I don't think we have anything else, right? No? Very good. So everyone, have yourself a great week, couple weeks. We'll see you in a couple weeks. On behalf of all those men and women who have served this great country and continue to serve, we thank you. Anyone from the schools that need a signature, feel free to come up. Meeting adjourned.